of Earth.
Hello?
Hello, I'd like to speak to the slumlord, please.
Speaking. Witness.
Listen, this is Film Banter. We're about to film your episode. Where are you?
I just pulled up to your house.
Well, okay, come on in. We're waiting for you. Well, wait a minute. Be careful. Don't let the neighbors see you because you'll send them into some kind of catatonic fear.
Yeah, you're overreacting. I'm fine. I'm incognito.
Oh, okay, very good.
I'll be
All right,
fine.
come on in.
Your house is the red house, right?
Yes. There's a red house over yonder.
Oh, I like the color red. I see it. I will be right inside. Okay, see you soon.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I appreciate all of you viewing my appearance tonight on Film Banter. I hope tonight's episode goes well. Now, make sure you all subscribe to Film Banter. Make sure you look for the Slumlord on Instagram. And please follow and like us. And of course, share. If you like it, share. Sharing is wonderful. We appreciate it. Let's do this. Hello, I'm here. I have arrived to do the show.
Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, we welcome you to the 48th episode of Film Banter. Tonight we have a special guest with his back to you. He is ready to turn around now. He is the infamous, the wondrous, the amazing, the heartless, the master of debauchery, the Slum Lord.
Well, hello. Thank you very much. I am very happy to be hosting the show for my second time. Thank you so much for introducing me. I have been looking forward to this for many weeks. Oh, thank you very much. I'm excited to talk about film with you, sir. Mr. What's your last name? I didn't catch it.
Craven Moorhead.
Oh, Mr. Moorhead, yes, of course. How could I have forgotten? It is so good to see you.
I am visiting tonight
Yes.
to be with you, Mr. Lord. The Lord has arrived. Oh, thank you.
I am the Lord of the
I have
Slams.
waited
Yes,
to
yes,
meet him
yes. I
here
do that. I
on
do
your
rule over
planet.
them. So I have to assume, given your appearance, that you've come from very far.
Oh, yes.
I imagine
I'm from
so.
Milwaukee.
Oh, wow. Well, I hope you took a car and didn't walk here.
No.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for that comic essence.
It was okay.
I am here to help out for a little
Okay.
while your regular co-host is having his way with something I don't know what.
Well, let's hope it's not the vegetable.
One never knows.
With him, anything is possible.
So
But
true.
should we begin discussing cinema? Would you like to?
Yes, I would.
Okay, what would you like to discuss first?
I don't know. What would you like to discuss first, sir?
Well, you know, I did go see something in the theater. Would you believe it? I watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
It's all lies!
Is
Those
it?
are all lies. There's no truth to any of
None
that.
of it is true?
Don't believe that.
Oh, I
film.
really believed it. I believe
There's
it all.
no truth to it.
Okay, if you say so, sir. I thought that was good, though. The 40th anniversary, apparently. Apparently, this film came out in 1977. And they have
Yes.
re-released it now
Just
in
a
effort...
millisecond away.
I'm sorry?
That was a millisecond
That's true.
away from my moment here.
You are correct, sir. And I know they released the film in an attempt to make a little more money, I believe. But that is neither here nor there. But
Yes.
I must say that...
That is true.
Would you believe that this was the first time that I actually saw this film?
I'm fine that hard to believe.
You know, I have been so busy over the years evicting people that I don't always get to watch every bit of every movie. I have seen bits and pieces over the years, so this viewing of this film was really the first time in its entirety in the theater, which was actually very nice to watch it on the big screen. I went to one of the AMCs where they have the Dolby Cinema with the wonderful sound and beautiful picture. So I really got to experience this film probably better than anybody ever has in history.
Like the Dolby Atmos that you heard it in, you too are too loud, sir.
I know, sir. I do have the tendency to get a little excited, so I apologize for injuring your receptacles of sound.
It's quite all right. I have very sensitive inner intestinal eardrums.
My apologies, sir. But anyway, so I assume you've seen this film?
Oh yes, I've seen it. I've lived.
I was going to say, you've
yes,
lived it.
I've seen it.
What did you think of it?
Well, it is an older film of Mr. Steven Spielberg,
Correct.
which we are very proud of him from from Milwaukee, and we think he is wonderful. We saw the big one with the big fish, with the teeth.
Oh, yes. Was it called Jaws?
I don't remember, but
Okay.
yes, we
I believe
enjoyed
that's the
that
film you're
very
referencing.
much.
That was a classic.
Yes.
On this planet, it is a classic. Considered a classic.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
We found it most entertaining.
Oh, yes.
It
And
gave
terrifying.
us great appreciation of the cinema.
I agree, sir. And I must say, I really do like your tie. I think you picked a good one.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. I give
Yes.
compliments. I don't just take people out of their home.
Oh, I thought that's what you do, sir.
It is, but I like giving compliments when they are merited.
I see.
But, you know, I guess for those viewers who may be unfamiliar with the film, Close Encounters features a performance by Richard Dreyfuss. He is the lead in the film. He's a family man who becomes obsessed with an encounter he had with a UFO.
Don't believe any of it.
I won't!
I'm sorry.
Keep your outburst to a minimum. But, yes, so he plays a man who becomes fairly obsessed, and many people as
there
well.
was no anal probing in that film.
No,
I
this
believe.
was a PG film, so they left that out.
Very good.
But
That
you
is
know, I'm
fair,
assuming
and that
that
is proper.
happens.
There is no anal probing. Please,
No.
people outside of Milwaukee, please realize that the anal probing thing is merely a myth.
It's a myth?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you, I think.
Very well.
So,
Just don't drop the soap while we're talking today.
no, I plan on. Well, you know, the problem, the good thing is that I don't have to worry about that because I do not have an anus.
Oh, is that correct?
I'm all bone.
Well, everyone says you're the biggest asshole they know.
Oh, you're a
I
card.
guess
You're
it's
such a
just
card.
humorous thing.
Oh, you're always on, aren't you, sir? That's why I decided to come back.
Well, we're
'Cause
very
I heard
grateful
about
to
you.
have you, sir.
I heard you were filling in for Mr. Darrell for a brief period, and I wanted to meet you.
Just for a little while, for
Yes.
the review of this film, I wanted to make sure that it was completely unreserved without any thought process that
Understood.
might induce induction of immediate thought that would not be properly correct.
Yes. You know, I never met anybody from your area, from Milwaukee.
Pardon me?
I've never met anybody from Milwaukee.
Well, you have now.
Yes.
It's nice to meet you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please don't
My,
pull
my
my
warmest
big hand
hello
off.
to you, too.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. But back to the film, before we forget that that's why we're here. I thought this
Oh,
was a very
yes.
good movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very well done and very Spielbergian. You can definitely see a young filmmaker coming into his own
But
and
he
telling a
had
nice
already-
tale.
I see. Okay.
The effects were good. I thought the score by Mr. John Williams was very, very good.
Knock, knock, knock.
That
Nah.
was cool.
Many people think at the end that that is an electronic device, but it is not.
No?
It is a tuba.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You mean the aliens sound
Yes, sir.
from their ship? Yes, you're right. It is a tuba.
Yes, your ass holiness.
Yes.
You are the slum lord.
I am the slumlord.
Are you the lord of the people outside of Milwaukee?
You could say there are certain communities that I do rule over, so yes, that is an accurate statement.
Oh, very well.
I will say another thought on this film before I forget that I thought that Richard Dreyfuss did a very good job at playing this man who was consumed by this experience that he had. He really reached a level of mania, especially in that one scene, if you recall, when he's disrupting his household with plants from outside and throwing dirt and breaking windows and building a massive
He had nothing
structure.
to do with... I mean, that is true. That
Yes.
was very entertaining.
I thought that was a good scene. I felt very uncomfortable in that scene because of the mess he was making, and his poor wife and children were scared. They thought he was going mad, and
Did you
I
want
thought it
to
was very
evict him?
effective. What?
Did you want to evict him from his home?
I wanted to take him, evict him with such fury, for he is destroying a beautiful residence that could have been dwelled by many, many people with finer attitudes.
I totally agree
I
with
agree.
whatever you said.
Okay, so anyway, I really enjoyed it, and I thought this was a wonderful presentation of this film. The AMC theater chain has done a wonderful job at bringing this film to its audiences in the Dolby Cinema with the wonderful sound and big screen and reclining seats. I enjoyed that immensely, putting up my tired bones after a long day and just watching a film.
Yes, sir.
I really enjoyed the experience, and I'm happy that I waited to see this film on the big screen because, let's just face it, in 1977, I was not really much of a moviegoer. I must tell you, I was very much into other things at that period, so I missed this one when it first
Like what?
came out. Well, I prefer not to go into it too much, but I will say that it involved quite a bit of
I must
debauchery.
make a disclaimer now.
Please do.
Please, the people of the government, I am not, I am fearful for my own safety.
Why?
Well, because I hear that your president is trying to abolish the entrance of illegal aliens.
You know, that is true. It's an unfortunate turn of events. We do have a draconian government right now, and I really do feel for the people of foreign descent who have called the United States their home for quite some time and are now facing the prospect of being evicted. You'd think somebody like me would be able to identify with that. But, you know, I have a little bit of a heart left, and I kind of feel bad for these people. I don't
You
think...
do have a heart left.
I have a little bit as a centimeter, but I do feel bad for these people.
Yes,
I evict people that are late on their rent, but innocent people being evicted for politics' sake and hatred, I don't approve of that. I don't approve of hate. I just love money. That's it.
you don't hate money?
I hate what it does to me. It makes me into a crazy person.
Yes,
It is the root of all evil, you know.
yes.
Uh,
Me too.
Anyway,
I have Garuchas, and they
Indeed.
are money to me in Milwaukee.
I'll go there sometime.
Okay then.
So, what do you think? Any further thoughts on Close Encounters?
Well, I thought it was an accurate depiction of the fictionary mind of the American filmmaker.
Okay.
I thought that it had great potential.
Yes.
I thought that the creatures looked rather spindly and odd.
Well, you know, it was 1977.
Well, I haven't seen much of a change in the cinematic release of this sort of imagery depicting outer space creatures.
Yes, well,
Therefore, I cannot agree that possibly the 1977 version of an alien would not be much different than the... What year is this?
this is 2017.
Oh, yes, the 2017 version.
Oh, well, we'll see. Did you see that film a couple months ago, Valerian? Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets? There were some pretty interesting aliens in that film.
I did see that film too.
Did you see Cousins?
Cousins?
Cousins or any family members represented properly in that film?
I didn't notice any of them in there.
Oh, too bad.
No, we do not work for Hollywood. I mean, my people outside of Milwaukee are very anti-film industry.
They are, okay.
Yes. I think we're going on too long here.
Well, you know, I would have to agree with you on that.
I think we need to
Move on?
discuss more of what we are here for.
I agree.
So I am going to review one movie that I did see.
Okay.
It is called The Layover.
So, The Layover, the second film tonight.
Yes, I did enjoy it because it featured the American female with their big American breasts.
Ah,
The
I see
first
why you
one,
liked it.
It starred Kate Upton,
Uh-huh.
who we have found is a swimsuit model
Yeah,
of
that
the
she
highest
is.
caliber
She is.
and the highest double D centimeter.
Uh-huh.
She was most entertaining.
I'm happy to hear
Also,
it.
Alexandria Daddario,
Ah, she's the new It girl.
the it girl of the decade,
Indeed.
and decade is 3,000 years for me,
Uh-huh.
and she is wonderful.
I'm happy to hear
This
that.
film was directed by William H. Macy,
I like him.
who we have great respect for because of his work in the film Fargo.
I agree.
He is also in a Showtime series called Shameless,
Indeed he is.
and we enjoy this series very much. So, I would like to talk about this film very briefly.
What is the premise?
It was a funny movie. It was funny. It featured the two women, they are roommates,
Uh-huh.
and they fall in love with a man on a plane and pursue him for the rest of the film.
Ah, interesting.
Hilarity ensues.
Ah, yes. I believe this film is in theaters now, correct?
I do believe it is.
Wonderful.
Very limited release.
Very limited.
Theaters only released inside of a photomat
Ah,
are showing
yes.
this
That is
film.
what I call a niche,
Do you
niche
still have
audience.
photomats here?
No, not anymore. Maybe in Milwaukee.
What a shame.
I agree. You sound a little bit like Stephen Hawking, I must say.
Oh, I thank you very much.
You do.
I am most honored
Yes. I
that
can't
you
say
think
that
of me as him.
the
He is one
vocabulary
of our
might not
great,
match, but the
respected
cadence
humans
does.
on your, I mean, of the people outside of Milwaukee. He is our great, respected person of faith and wonderment.
I agree.
We do appreciate him greatly.
Our society tends to applaud him also.
Yes, indeed. So, this movie, do I recommend it? Well, I give it 2 big, and I think that
2
it
melons up.
is, it is what it is.
Uh-huh.
The women are very beautiful. I find them most entertaining to watch them bounce around the movie set as they pursue the goals of their characters.
Okay.
I found them entertaining and also beautiful to watch.
Excellent.
This, however, is the only reason one might watch this film.
Okay.
It is not very interesting in a creative way. It is simply interested in a very large mammalian way. So for that reason, I give it a big yes.
Okay.
A big yes.
You know, I must add that it seems like an odd choice for a vehicle for William H. Macy to direct.
I totally agree with
Kind of
you.
an odd choice.
We are big fans of Mr. Macy.
He's excellent.
He is a wonderful actor and always
fantastic.
supplies wonderful characters
I agree.
to the fictional essence of his being.
You know, he is the muse of writer, director, playwright David Mamet. Very good friends, and he's used him many times.
I probably would agree with you had I seen those films.
Okay.
Okay, it is very difficult for me to breathe your
Your air?
your
Are you
air
here?
in this. Well, I mean, outside of Milwaukee, it is very cool and fresh there.
Uh-huh.
Here, I noticed that the air smells like matzah or something. I'm not quite sure.
Well, you know, we are in an area that has a lot of ethnic cuisine, so there's a chance that you're not used to that. So, if you'd like, I believe Daryl has some oxygen in his basement. You're
I think
welcome
I
to
shall
get
go
some
down.
fresh air.
I have him tied up there now. I
Well,
will release him.
I would like to meet him again.
Please, I wish for you to now do the next cinematic.
I would be
offering.
happy to do that and take care of that while you go address your breathing ability.
I thank you so much. It is so wonderful to meet you,
You
Mr. Lord.
too, my friend. It's been a pleasure and an honor.
We
and
have always
come on down again.
appreciated to see the lords of the planet here, and
Yes.
even one of the slums.
Well, you know, I'll take any applause I can get, so thank you for that.
All right, I will applaud for you.
Okay. Goodbye. Icarus. It is a Netflix original documentary. And I must say, this is a very fascinating and very, I would say, important documentary. So, to give you a brief idea of the premise, basically, Icarus is about the doping scandal that occurred in not only the most recent Olympics in Rio, but about the professional bicycle racing industry. If you may recall, there was some controversy with the American cyclist, the several-time winner Lance Armstrong. You remember he won many titles. I believe it was possibly 7. Well, he got all those titles stripped from him because they found out that he was doping, which is another way of just talking about steroids, and sometimes doping can be referenced to actually taking samples of your blood and putting it back in. I don't understand all of it. Oh, well.
Oh, my God. I've been tied up for the last half hour.
Hello, Mr. Smith. Oh, Dial is
God.
here. What a joy.
Why, Mr. Lord.
Hello.
Mr. Slumlord,
How are you,
so
sir?
wonderful
It's
to see
very,
you.
very good to
Oh,
see
it's
you
so
again.
good to see you
Very
again.
good to see you.
So good. I'm
Welcome
so glad
back.
you dressed up for the show.
You know, I like to wear hoodies. It's very comfortable.
And you look very good in your hoodie, sir.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
very good. It's
Well, you know, I
lovely to
wear a
have
hoodie
you.
when I'm in the hood.
I suppose you should.
Welcome back. I'm sorry for the ordeal you just had to
I
go
know,
through.
it's so horrible.
But now
I'm
you're
going
back.
to put on my glasses because the lights are so bright here.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, you'll
Well,
get used to
all right.
it.
Well, very good. Well, welcome to the show. How have you been doing?
Things are good, my friend.
Yes.
I've been doing very well. Business is booming, and films have been watched. And right
Ah.
now, I'm actually in the middle of a review. if
Well,
you'd
please
like to
continue.
hear
No,
it.
please
Yeah,
go
so,
ahead.
Yeah, just it's a film called Icarus. It's a Netflix documentary about the doping scandal that occurred a couple years ago, involving not only Lance Armstrong, who was stripped of 7 titles, but also the Rio Olympics. There was some controversy. A lot
Drug
of
scandals, basically.
the drug scandal. A lot of Russian athletes were initially not allowed to play or partake in the games. Eventually, some of them were allowed to play, but I believe, over 150 were actually not allowed. I could be wrong on that number, but it's a good amount. So the story of this documentary unfolds in an interesting way. This was not the initial intention of the filmmaker. This documentary initially was about this filmmaker. I believe, if memory serves, his name was Mark Fogel. He's a filmmaker who was a big fan of cycling.
Oh, I see.
He actually was an amateur bicycle racer. What are you doing?
No, I was just wondering what these were over here.
Those are my curls.
Dreadlocks or something?
Kind
Oh,
of-
okay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, they're a little mixture of both.
Well, did you like this documentary?
I
Was it-
did, yeah,
was it
no, it's
well
very,
done?
very good. The point I'm bringing up about the way it was shot, he intended to make this documentary using himself as a subject, kind of like Super Size Me, to basically
Same
prove.
filmmaker?
No, different filmmaker, but similar style, as in he becomes the subject.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So he decides to go on these drugs to try to improve his racing in a big amateur race.
That's pretty cool.
And he wants to prove that all of the professional testing that is done on athletes is absolute BS.
God. Oh, something's just... Oh, it
Did you
hurts
get
so
probed?
bad.
Did you get
Oh,
probed?
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know.
no. You might have something left inside of you.
It hurts, whatever it is. Oh, I'm
Just try to maintain your pain
so
till the end of
sorry to
my review
interrupt.
here.
I'm so sorry to...
So-
I've been tied up for so long, and then suddenly I just was free. I
know.
came up the steps, and here you are.
Oh, well, you know what
I'm
happens.
so sorry.
I apologize for your anus.
Now, why is that? I noticed that Icarus
Yes.
was built from. He had wings.
Yes.
And he flew too close to the sun.
Yes.
And the sun melted his wings, and he
Indeed.
died. I believe
Indeed.
Daedalus was his father.
Correct?
There you go.
You're very good on your mythology.
Well, you know.
Yes. Well, the point is, what this documentary then gets into is through this guy's attempts to go through the motions and prove that the testing of these athletes is BS. He gets introduced to a Russian.
I'm going to ask you to just close these for a moment.
You want me to close my legs?
I wish you would,
Is there
because they're kind of
emitting odor?
touching. They're touching me,
I apologize.
and I know you don't go that way. So
I know.
Nor
but
do I.
I just like to get some air in there. Things get a little humid. My femur gets humid.
It is hot. It is hot.
Yes, it is. Anyway, back as I was saying, he meets a Russian lab technician
I see.
who runs the entire testing for the Russian Olympic teams.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I do remember all this whole scandal
and
that occurred.
so what happens
Yeah.
is this man ends up basically bringing down a house of cards on the whole Russian way of athletes training.
I see.
And it goes back to show us that since the 60s, there's been basically a state mandated doping requirement for all the athletes. So it's like a huge house of cards that comes crumbling down, and this filmmaker ends up bringing forth a very powerful and important story.
Okay.
It's amazing. It took him like 3 years to make it. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very important. I was amazed at how in depth it goes. Some of it is very complex. It's almost complicated in terms of describing exactly how they got away with doing this for so long. But it was quite a scheme that they had going, and it's a fascinating documentary that I recommend to anybody. If you're a documentary fan, this is one for the ages.
Very well.
This was.
I'm surprised that you didn't approve slightly of all this debauchery.
Well, that's beside that.
As the Lord of the Slums.
Oh, yes, I love controversy, of course. I love when people are nasty and people get away with doing things, but at the same time, I do like seeing justice as a viewer. I like seeing justice done, and I like movies about investigations.
So
I like
you must watch
documentaries.
Judge Judy from time to time.
Back in the day I did. I haven't in quite some time.
Now, when you go to Scotland, are you the Lord of the Dance?
No, I'm not. I actually have a cousin 3 times removed. That is his duty.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's wonderful.
But anyway, I highly recommend big yes for Icarus.
Well, all right.
It's a fascinating
I'll have to
documentary.
check it out. It's available on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive.
All our beloved fans over there. So if you're out there, just check out your
Make sure you
Netflix
check out Icarus.
dial there.
It's very interesting.
Etc. Well,
Continue.
very well. I'm now going to move on. I'm so grateful you enjoyed Icarus. And,
I did.
I hope everyone gets to check it out.
I hope they do.
I'm now going to review all 18 episodes of Season 3.
Hopefully not too in-depth.
No, of course not. I don't want to infringe upon anyone who has not seen the entire series by Mr. David Lynch, the series of Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
There you go. It's actually a reference to 2 mountains that resemble 2 breasts. And
Yes.
that is actually the truth. Many people have criticized my sexual innuendo, but let's face it, if it's not innuendo, it's not really a sexual reference, you know what I mean? But anyway, But I do want to talk about this just very briefly here. I've seen all 18 episodes. There has been much brouhaha. There has been a lot of claims made about that this series didn't have enough momentum behind it, that it was weird for weird's sake. But I have to say, after seeing the 18th episode, I am once again in debt to the power, to the glory, to the human being that is Mr. David Lynch.
He is a unique man.
He is a unique man, and I feel so blessed to just have him in my life, because as much film, as much cinema, as much TV that I do in fact watch, I'm just so grateful when somebody comes in with something so fresh, so unique, that it makes everything else just look so pale in comparison.
There's nothing like it.
There were very many episodes of the 18, that literally just seemed to be treading water. That David had an ending in mind that was so spectacular that he just had to kind of get to that ending. So it very much follows through. I was so grateful. I was just so grateful the way this all turned out. For me, it was so moving and so just wonderful. I cannot possibly. It was on Showtime. I really don't know, unless you have Showtime, how you're actually going to be able to see this.
I would imagine it's eventually going to end up on Netflix with the rest of it.
You know, I would think you're probably right.
I think it makes sense.
I hope it does come out on a Blu-ray series. I will certainly purchase it.
Yes.
I'd love to see the behind-the-scenes things. I certainly have every intention of watching the entire series, the entire 18 episodes all over again. So unique, so just visually stunning at times, so breathtaking, just characters, just and then at the end it just brings us right back to, and I'm not giving anything away here, but it brings us back to the heart of the very essence of this show, which is a small town murder.
Yes.
This is the horror of murder, because let's face it, the people who kill people are us. They are the people, I don't mean you and me.
I know what you're saying.
The people in our towns, these are the people who go a little bit defiled, the people who put on KKK heads and carve
It's
swastikas.
usually somebody you know who get murdered.
Absolutely. You know, somebody is behind. There's always, we have 3 billion people plus on this planet, and it's very minimalistic.
I thought we were up to 7 billion.
Are we up to 7
it's
now?
7.
Oh, God. Well, we were. Yeah, you're right. I think China alone is 3 billion.
And India as well.
Yeah,
has a
India
lot.
has a couple billion right there, so you're probably right. It's about 7. But
incredible figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was talking about Alexandra Daddario.
Oh yes, well, but hey. Oh, she is a lovely
That's called
gal.
a throwback.
Did anybody forget it? Anyway, I just want to say Twin Peaks, just wonderful. Just
I'm looking forward
just
to seeing it.
absolute. Well, I think that by the time my co-host, Mr. Chris Picard, gets to see that film, we'll probably be on our 100th episode.
It's possible.
Because he has no dire inclination, which is so sad because he's truly missing out. This is a great series. I absolutely
No, I
adored it.
believe he wants to see it. It's just a matter of devoting the time.
No, I understand that.
You know, it's a
He's
commitment
only
to have.
had since 1993 to watch the
No,
film.
but you can't say in 1993 he was just a little lad who
I
didn't know
but
anything about David Lynch.
He's had 24 years to
He
watch.
didn't know about David Lynch until the 90s, the late 90s.
All right, well then he still had 20 years.
Well,
to,
I don't know. I can't make any more
Get
excuses
to
for the
it,
kid.
but listen, let's not talk about that.
Let's just worry about
let us
what's
move on.
the
I
menu
love
now.
Twin Peaks. Oh my God, it was just so incredible.
I'm just happy that you enjoyed the ending because I know you were bemoaning the show.
I was bemoaning it, but you know the
I
last.
got your emails.
I'm going to say about the last 7 or 8 episodes, it just kicked
It
into
amped up.
high gear. Suddenly, it just went berserk, and it just turned into such an incredible piece of work.
Very happy to hear it.
I just absolutely adored it, and you know, without David Lynch, our world is just a plain and empty one. I have to say, I mean, he just gives me hope for.
Well, he's a unique filmmaker.
You
no
know,
doubt.
it's. I just pray to God that we don't. That you know, he's a big smoker, and I remember when if you can play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, you have to die. That's all there is to it. The closest we ever came was Stevie Ray Vaughan. What happened? He died.
In a helicopter.
Exactly.
He shouldn't have gotten in a helicopter.
You cannot live if you can play guitar like that.
I know, it's a shame.
It's just a shame, but it is the way of the world. We're now going to move on to our next film,
Yes.
which is called Rememory.
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 You know, I did see that film.
Well, tell me about it.
I did. Well, it stars the wonderful Peter Dinklage.
I love Little Peter from
You know,
Game of Thrones.
From Game of Thrones. He's a fantastic actor.
He lives
who-
very close by here.
You know, he does. I
He
believe
does
that.
indeed.
Yeah, he
lives approximately an hour from here.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his ever since I saw The Station Agent. Very
Oh,
good independent
fantastic.
film.
Yeah.
Tom McCarthy is a great little filmmaker.
Yeah.
Although I know you have quite distaste for one of his most recent films.
Which was?
Spotlight.
Oh.
You did not like that film. I know you didn't.
My pacemaker just went dead.
I know. But regardless, Peter Dinklage is the star of Rememory, which is a
He
very
is indeed.
interesting little film. You know, it is on streaming platforms right now. You can rent it on
You
demand.
can indeed. Rememory. Just like it sounds. It's one word.
Yes. You know, Peter Dinklage plays a man who is in
A small man.
Well, you know, that goes without saying. He plays a man who is grieving over the loss of a loved one. And
Yes,
he
indeed.
is seeking out.
We see at the very beginning of the film his best friend
Yes.
killed in a car crash.
His brother.
Oh, his brother. Correct.
And so he eventually attends a seminar of a very prominent, I guess you can say he's a psychotherapist / scientist.
Okay.
A psychoscientist, perhaps, who has a machine that allows you to extract memories.
Oh, God.
And they hope that this machine can help people with Alzheimer's and
Yes.
help people who are struggling with trauma
Yes.
to get over that by extracting said memory.
Exactly.
So
There's a machine that can see memories.
see,
also.
no, but they can also, they take it out and put it almost on a petri dish.
Correct.
On a little, what do you call those little glass little things?
It's called a petri dish.
That's called a petri
That is
dish.
correct,
I
yes.
wasn't sure petri dish was the thing where they put the culture in, the circular.
That's a petri dish.
So it's different types. Okay.
No, that is a petri dish.
Okay, but I'm thinking
The
of those little
dishes.
glass vials.
What you put into the petri dish is up to you.
I understand.
But that's it.
Okay.
But the thing that always kills me about these movies that when we're seeing people's memories,
Yes.
such as The Discovery, I believe it was, the
Yes,
Robert Redford film
yes,
of recent
disappointing
time.
film, yes.
It was disappointing,
Yes.
but at the same
was
time,
still merit.
I appreciated the concept
I did too.
of being able to go back into memories
love that
and
stuff.
to change things around,
The
etc.
brain is fascinating.
We actually have that to a touch in Twin Peaks, where time is of an element.
Yes.
Anyway, I don't want to go into that, but let's stay on Rememory here. But it always baffles me that we see everything through a camera. So when we're seeing people's memories, of course, the camera. Where is this camera in one's head to film these memories? But
Well,
obviously,
no, for this film, if I'm not mistaken, the perspective in some of the ways was through It was first person.
Well, of course, and that goes right back to Black Mirror.
Yeah, it does,
Which
yes.
we had that one great
Episode
episode where people could rewind and, hey, I said this to you. No, you didn't.
Yes.
I'll prove it to
Through
you.
an
And then they
implant.
get next to a TV and they go,
You know
and
that-
they play the memory. That was so cool.
Do you know that episode was the most horrifying of them all for
I
me?
think you're right.
Because it's very realistic. It could possibly happen.
Yeah.
And I think that would destroy relationships.
Oh, my God.
Can you
would it ever.
imagine what that would
if
do?
you could prove that you were right
Oh.
or wrong every single time.
But the human rights
Yeah.
implications are pretty good.
Oh, but for me, and just to go back into Black Mirror for a moment, the one
Such a good
where
show.
the woman played by, I forgot her name,
Yes.
but she was on the Marvel Special Agent show.
Yes, you're
and
talking-
she gets
yes.
her husband, who has died,
Yes.
in the mail
Yes,
in
yes,
a
yes.
box.
Is a
He
clone.
is a cloned
Yeah, real-
android.
yes,
He's
creepy.
a clone. Oh
Very
my God!
good episode.
For me, that was the creepiest.
That was great too.
All right, we shouldn't even be talking about.
But
Black
anyway,
Mirror.
Black Mirror, it just envelops you. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
No, it's
but
just a
back to
great series
Remembering.
on Netflix. Yeah, back to Remembering.
Anyway, Remembering, it's a kind of a thriller. It's a sad film at times. It's well acted.
It is.
I enjoyed it for what it was. I'm not going to say it's a great film, but it's a good film that I would still say a yes to.
Would you?
I guess a lot of that is because I really do love Peter Dinklage. thought
I
he
do
was very
too,
good.
he has
I
such
like
a-
the role. He's a little sculptor. He makes little models, and
Correct.
he lives right on the, I guess, on a bay of a
Right.
body of water, and
Yeah.
he lives a quiet life. And
You're forgetting the wonderful French actress.
well, Julia Armand
Oh,
is in
she
it.
is just
she's
lovely.
French. I thought she was British.
She may be. I
Might be
thought
British.
she. I always confuse her with the other French babe.
I know. Juliette Binoche?
Yes, Juliette
I
Binoche.
get them confused also.
Yeah.
They're
well,
so
Julia
alike.
Ormond was in the original Sabrina with Harrison Ford.
You mean the remake?
Well, the original, was Humphrey Bogart
Yes,
and,
yes.
and
Hepburn.
Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn.
But,
But the remake was
was.
Julia
And she was-
Ormond.
her
That
big-
was more or less her first film, and then she made that film with the Brad Pitt
Well,
on the horse range.
I think that came first before Sabrina.
Did it? Oh,
Legends of
very
the Fall.
possible.
I love
Yeah, I
Legends
love
of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall.
That
Great
was a
film.
1994 film. I believe
Loved it.
Sabrina was 95 and 96.
There you go.
But anyway, real quick, and one more thing about Peter Dinklage that I don't want to forget. This man can emote so much with just his eyes.
I totally
He has the
agree
most
with you.
expressive eyes I've seen in a long time.
There is so much
Wonderful.
warmth
Right
on
into
Peter
his
Dinklage's
soul.
face. Oh
Yes.
my God, are you so right?
He's great.
And for me, he is the essence of Game of Thrones.
I agree
That
with you.
show,
That's why he gets top billing.
everybody is really just kind of a carbon copy of a stereotype.
In a way.
But Peter Dinklage, no,
He's the
in
North
a
Star.
sense, he is truly, the man has such compassion.
He does.
It comes from every essence of his being. Every film, everything he ever does, he's just
He's
a
wonderful.
warm,
I
wonderful
love
human
him.
being.
I agree.
There is just no, it's amazing. It's just amazing. He was born of a height just so. I say unfair, but it's really not unfair. It's all he's ever known, and he's made an incredible acting
Yes.
imprint
I
on
agree.
the tapestry of cinema. No question
He's
about
probably
it.
the most successful actor of his stature. I would say.
Absolutely. Well, no, there was a guy named Billy Barty.
I know Billy Barty, but
Billy
he wasn't
Barty
getting the
back
kind of
from
leading
the-
roles that
well,
Peter
true.
is getting.
No, that's absolutely true. But nobody had the face that Peter Dinklage has that just
I know.
emotes
It's
in
amazing.
such warmth and character.
And if I must say,
He's
and,
wonderful.
and I say this with complete
Honesty?
honesty and warmth,
Compassion.
I think he is he's an attractive man. I mean, and I don't say that as a gay man. I say that as somebody who can
And
appreciate.
he's just the right height for you, too.
Ba-dum-bum. No, I just say because there are people out there who you've probably seen who are I guess you can say they're a little person, whatever.
Yes.
I guess that's the term.
Well, the term is actually, even dwarf is now
Yeah.
considered
But
acceptable.
so some of them
But little
do not have
person
the
is
good
the
looks
truth.
that he does, and I think that really helps him because I've read articles about him. I believe one was from the perspective of his current wife in real life, and she just fell head over heels for him.
And
his-
she is a tall blonde
yeah,
lady.
and she
beautiful.
is. She's
a
she's beautiful,
woman.
and her. And
No, it
her-
has nothing to do with, love is what it
It
is.
is. No, but
And,
my point is that she was
somebody
saying that
must
he
even love you.
captivated her.
Somebody must love you.
I have a nice crew of lady skeletons that adore me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do.
I find that hard. I think that's wonderful.
It's true, my friend. Don't doubt it.
I don't doubt
the things
anything.
I can do with these fingers. Believe me.
Ha ha!
But anyway, I
Hey, but
digress
anyway.
into dirty territory there.
Yeah, but
you're rubbing
hurt.
off on me,
Wouldn't
sir.
those hurt fingers?
I use a lot of care and a lot of lube.
A lot of KY.
Oh,
You
but
know,
up.
you could be a proctologist
I
that would
could.
just emanate fear everywhere
That's
he
so
goes.
true.
Oh my God.
Well, you know, sometimes when you got to get that rent money, you got to use these things.
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to threaten a little bit.
You got to give him a
Believe
little
me,
bit.
as soon as these fingers come out, that money comes
I
out.
bet it does too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, the
I'm
cash.
sitting here in fear just sitting
I
next to
know.
you.
Well, you know,
But,
don't
you know.
stand up. I'll tell you what might
Well, I've
happen.
already been probed once this evening
I know
by,
you have.
by my previous guest
I'm
here.
probably a
but-
little gentler though.
well, I doubt that. I doubt that. It was quite horrifying.
I know. But anyway, back
All
to
right, we're gonna
memory.
move on to
Would you
remembering-
recommend this film?
You know, I saw it a few weeks ago, and it's kind of drifted into my non-rememory, if I
Oh.
may. I didn't love the film. I love Peter Dinklage, therefore I'm going to give it a yes.
You have to for
I'm
him.
going to give it a yes because Peter, you know, he doesn't do a lot of films. He's so taken up his time with Game
He's
of
in
Thrones,
Thrones, yes.
with GOT, which now is on a 2-year hiatus.
Oh, my goodness.
We're not
Mr.
going to see
Waits.
it for another 2 years. now.
2019.
Not fair, ladies
That's
and gentlemen.
terrible.
It's just not fair. Well,
Why
it's
does
almost-
HBO crucify us so?
well, they do
They
that.
love
don't
crucifying
they?
us.
They do indeed. Well, you know, they just. I think they're going along with the the rudiments of the script, and they're just.
Well, I'd
trying
rather
to-
wait for
and
good
they're-
quality.
me too.
You know, I'd rather
but,
wait.
But they only give us 7 episodes. That's just, and the next one's only 6.
I
hear.
know, but
It's
they're going to be
just not
feature length,
right.
I heard.
Oh, are they?
I heard they're going to be
Like
pretty
2
long.
hours each. Or?
Well, probably an hour 20, hour 40.
We say that.
Well, because technically a feature is an hour and 20 minutes. So that week, the finale was about an hour and 20.
Yes, it was. This is
So
true.
if every episode
well, I certainly hope
is
they
an
do.
hour and
I-
20, that's fine.
I hope they give us. I hope they give us our money's worth. You know.
I think they will. If it's
I-
if it's anything like the pace of this last season, I think we're in for a treat.
I tell you, I really did love the last season of GOT.
It was
Game of Thrones.
great.
It was just wonderful. Let's kind of move
Let's
on.
move on,
Let's
though.
kind of move right on here.
What would you like to speak about?
The next film we're going to talk about is a film called Chuck.
Chuck.
Okay, Chuck is about a guy named Chuck Wemper.
Ah, yes.
And Chuck Wemper was a guy who he was the original inspiration to Sylvester Stallone. This man was
You mean Rocky?
Sylvester
Stallone's Rocky.
Stallone writing the
Rocky,
film Rocky.
yes.
He based Rocky on Chuck Wemper. Okay, so Chuck Wemper is very famous. In 1975, George Foreman had just fought Muhammad Ali at the famous Thrilla in Manila.
Yes.
So then
Rumble in the Jungle.
Rumble in the Jungle, whatever you want to call it, that's what it was. So, but the thing that happened then was they wanted to have a black person, namely Muhammad Ali, fighting against a white guy.
Yes.
So they needed a white guy. So they needed somebody in the category. Now there weren't many white guys to go around.
I know.
You know, you would have been Bife.
I would have been
Let
beautiful.
me tell you right there. But
Oh.
but you know,
I could rumble in the jungle, you
ladies,
know.
You know, we said with those
Every
fingers.
time I go to Harlem, I'm rumbling in that jungle. You
They
know, I
call
got to
this
use these
guy
fists.
Boney Maroney is his
Oh,
nickname
yeah.
in the ring.
But there's strength there, my friend.
But
Strength.
you know, I believe that. But anyway, this film stars the incredible Liev Schreiber.
Yes.
And his illustrious wife of that moment, who was Naomi Watts, is also in this film. He plays this boxer. He's kind of, you know, I don't want to go into that down on your luck kind of boxer mode, but he was the guy in line to fight Muhammad Ali. And he went. And of course, as Rocky says in the movie, all I wanted to do was go to 15 rounds. I didn't care about winning. I just didn't want to let my people down.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to 15 rounds with him. So, and that's what he did. He actually went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. He got beat 20 seconds before the 15th round actually ended because they called it a technical knockout. What
TKO.
happened was, yeah, it was a TKO. But what happened was he punched Ali in the chest so hard, Ali went down. Ali just kept doing his rope-a-dopa, bouncing on the ropes the whole time. I'll tell you, Liev Schreiber is so incredible in this film. I have not always been the biggest fan of his. He was in a great little movie called Defiance, which I kind of liked. Him and
With
Daniel
Daniel Craig.
Right, they were playing the anti-Nazi regime.
Yes.
It was only within the last 5-6 years that film came out or so.
Yes.
I think it was after his first Bond film.
I think so, too.
Right after Casino Royale.
I believe you're
Daniel
right.
made Defiance with Liev Schreiber, and Liev generally plays a bad guy to some extent.
lot.
He was also in that film with Angelina Jolie. Oh God, what a film that was! I love that movie. Angelina's a secret agent. She kind of worked with the Russians.
Salt.
Salt.
Salt
I knew
is
it was
a
a
good
one-word
film.
title. I love that.
You're
Liev
a big
Schreiber,
fan of that movie.
I'm a big fan of that movie. I've seen it. There's 3 different versions of that
Yes.
film on the Blu-ray. and each has an alternate
It's a
beginning,
good film.
alternate ending. I love that movie.
ANNIV is a very intense actor.
Yeah, he is.
He's on
intense.
Ray Donovan on
He's-
Showtime.
Exactly. I'm going to start watching Ray Donovan just because
Yeah,
of this.
my-
You know, it is
I've heard
more.
it's a good show.
It is more difficult to give a non-performance than it is to give a performance. And Liev Schreiber actually gives a non-performance. He's so late, and that's so hard to do for any actor. It's you just kind of you fall into the character so brilliantly and so at such an easy pace that it's like an old pair of shoes. You put this movie on and you just kind of go into a cool kind of a vibey. I hate to use the word groovy, baby, but that's what it is, baby. It's groovy. It's just got such a nice groove to it. It was kind of low paced and low keel, and he's just such a cool kind of a guy in a very kind of a lunk-headed way. Naomi Watts gets some of the best lines off of this. She's kind of a sharp-mouthed bartender who works at this specific bar that he goes to.
Is she the love interest?
No, not really. His wife is played by the illustrious Elizabeth Moss from
Oh,
Mad
yes,
Men.
yes,
and
yes.
she's, I like Elizabeth Moss. She's also now in Handmaid's Tale, kicking butt
I
left
heard that
and right.
show's good. Is that on Hulu or Amazon? I forget.
I'm not sure which. I think it's on Amazon.
It's so
no,
hard
it's
to
on
keep
Hulu.
track
It's
now.
on Hulu. But that's the show to watch is Handmaid's Tale. It's the Margaret Atwood novel from the
Yes.
1960s, and it's about the totalitarian society that 1984, where women have been reduced to almost the Iranian
Yes,
veiled
yes.
woman who can only show her eyes, etc. But and Elizabeth is supposedly spectacular. She's
heard that
supposed
too.
to. Word is she will win the Emmy for her best actress performance, and she again is wonderful in this film. She plays his kind of scorned wife.
Uh-huh.
He kind of like he's not a bad guy, but women are attracted to him. He I know that feeling so well. Please stop laughing out there.
It's a burden, we know.
I know it's tough, but when you have that kind of animal magnetism, they just come flocking. So he does have a tendency to, be that infidelant that
Yes.
he does become from time to time. And Elizabeth, I'll tell you, this movie is so well made and so well written. And the one great thing about all these bio films is we see the real guy at the end
I love that.
of the film, and they do it in such a cool, clever way. But
Great.
I adored this film. For me, it was the film of the week.
Oh, good to hear.
It was just the movie that I just adored with such great compassion. It's just called Chuck.
Great.
And
sounds very good.
We have an actor who plays Muhammad Ali in the film. We have an actor who plays Sylvester Stallone.
Great.
All very
Oh,
good.
wow, interesting.
They film it in kind of a square screen image of what we had back in 1975, as opposed to the full widescreen that you see here.
Yes.
But it's just so well made and with such heart and devotion. I adored this film. I absolutely loved it. And he's and Sylvester really came and really did base the movie Rocky on this guy,
Uh-huh.
Chuck Wemper. So it's really amazing.
Great.
And to see that how he was treated, and here he is the basis of the script. Did he make a dime on Rocky? Not a dime.
I believe
He
he
didn't
did he
make
try
a
to
damn
sue
dime.
Stallone? I think I heard he did.
No, I
In
don't
real
believe
life.
he did.
He didn't?
No, he didn't. He wasn't that kind of a guy.
Oh.
He was really a heartfelt individual.
Okay.
He was just a good guy. He just wanted to. He was so grateful that he got a shot with Muhammad Ali.
Great.
And he says right in the thing. I was just so grateful. He's narrating it in his head while we're watching him fight Ali.
Yes.
And he says, the best thing was I'm looking across the ring and there's Muhammad Ali. I was so thrilled. I'll tell you, this movie is wonderful. Chuck, if you can get to see it, I believe it's a 2016 film. I could be wrong. It could have just come out this year, but
I'm pretty sure it's available on streaming
I'm
platforms.
pretty sure it is, and it's
Yeah.
just wonderful. Chuck, check it out. Not to be confused with the
TV show.
Best Buy show starring that tall, skinny guy
Yes.
with the tie from the Best Buy type world.
I know what you're
That was
talking
a
about.
good show, though, when he was actually a super spy,
Yes.
etc. But this is a great film. I cannot recommend it enough.
Very good.
Let us move
Well, let's
on
move on.
to,
I'm going to review a film now. Another documentary that is on Netflix. I was in a documentary mode this past week.
I'm so sorry. you
I
were.
wanted to be in that mode. I can't help it. I just was.
I wish you weren't, but you are. So
It's
please
okay.
continue.
No, it's fine. Once in a while, I got to learn some things, So this documentary
Yes.
is, again, on Netflix. It's called How to Survive a Plague. How to Survive a Plague. And so what...
I don't think you're the one to be touting that. You don't look too good to me.
Oh, well, no, I'm okay. I feel
Have
okay.
you lost weight since the last time you've been here?
I probably have, but, I haven't been eating as much as I used
Well, you
to.
look a little thin.
It's okay. It's the lighting.
Your breath isn't as bad, though, this
It's the
time.
lighting.
I think we've had this, your mouth sewn shut, so
Well,
I'm not getting that horrible
I didn't
waft.
eat a plate of sardines prior, so that's probably what you're noticing.
That could be
So
it.
anyway, How to Survive a Plague. What? In essence, what this film is about the AIDS crisis in the 1980s, and this film focuses on a large group of activists who, yes, happen to all be gay.
Yes.
Yes, most of them happen to be HIV positive. And this takes place at the height of the pandemonium revolving...
1990s.
Well, 90s, but this
Well,
also...
80s into 90s.
Yes, this film, it chronicles about 12, 13 years, from about 82, 83, till about the 96, 97, roughly that period of time.
Okay.
So
Well,
it focuses
15,
on, 15 years, whatever that number is.
Okay.
It focuses on that period of time, and it shows us how these activists are pretty much... were largely responsible for not only getting the word out about AIDS, but pressuring our politicians and big pharmaceutical companies
Under pressure. By the way,
yes.
let us mention, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of AIDS and speaking of the
Yes.
illustrious man of the moment, today is the birthday of Mr.
Freddie
Freddie
Mercury,
Mercury,
who is mentioned in
and,
this documentary, by the way.
Mamma mia, mamma mia. Let
Yes.
us bow to Fred. He
He
was
was a great man.
a wonderful, wonderful human being.
I will
and
bow
just
to
a
him.
Sweetheart, and absolutely. And please go out and play your favorite Freddie song today.
I think my
if you
favorite,
can.
I do love Under Pressure, him and Bowie.
Great song.
I love the entire soundtrack to Flash Gordon.
Do you?
It's a lot of fun, that music.
Flash!
Flash! Save
I
it,
know.
rabbits!
Of the universe.
I love it. It's a great film. A lot of fun, that
It
film.
is a great.
It's a guilty
I hate
pleasure.
The film. I hate the film.
Why?
I really
Because
do.
you don't have a soul.
No, I don't have a soul.
You
well,
don't.
I probably have less of a. I probably have more of a
know
soul
do.
than you.
You don't have the ability to love a guilty pleasure unless it involves many breasts.
No, that's not true.
And horror.
No, you're absolutely
You
wrong.
love horror and breasts.
I do love breasts, but it has nothing to do with a guilty pleasure. I mean, that's not a guilty pleasure.
It
That's
is.
just part of life.
But you don't love 80s movies a lot.
No, I do love 80s films.
Not
but,
the cheesy ones.
Well, not Flash Gordon. I don't like that film at all.
That's
I
okay.
do like Max von Sydow.
You don't have
in
to
the
like
film,
it.
And I think Sam, what's his name? What's his name?
Is that Sam Jones?
Sam Jones, correct.
He parodies himself very funnily in the Ted movies.
I love
Very
him in
good.
Ted. Yeah, he's wonderful.
He's great.
But I didn't care for the film itself. But I do love the music.
Have you
and,
noticed that in
Queen themselves, Freddie and
They did
Brian
the
May,
whole soundtrack.
very
It
upset.
was
Yeah,
a-
they did do the whole soundtrack, and they were very disgusted with the way the movie came out.
Oh, well, you
Well,
know.
they hated the film, and I rightly agree. I think it's a horrible movie.
Do you
That,
know?
those special effects are just.
Well, that's very
I know
cheesy.
they're supposed to be a takeoff from the original Buster
Yes,
Crab,
yes.
Flash Gordon from the 20s and 30s, the serials that
Yes,
they showed
yes,
to
yes.
kids on a Saturday matinee. But that film has just got awful to me. But
Do
let's,
you know that a
let's
lot
not
of the
go there.
costumes in that movie were leftovers from the original version of Dune that was never made by Alejandro Jodorowsky?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff were designed for that film.
Well,
And,
of course, Dune was
were never
then made
used.
by David
by
Lynch.
David Lynch, obviously.
And
yes.
of course, they did put the moniker of Alan Smithy on the film
They
because
did, I
he
believe.
was one of the
Yes.
supposed directors after David dropped out
Ah,
because
yes.
the producer
Dino De
Dino
Laurentiis,
De
correct?
Laurentiis, right,
Yes.
who did produce, in fact, Blue Velvet.
Yes, he did.
But David was very disgusted with the fact that his vision was
Oh,
completely
no, well,
pulled
that
out from
happens a
under
lot.
him.
He's not really the kind of guy that should be doing those kind of studio films.
Very
He's
true.
an auteur.
Well,
auteurs can't have outside
That is
pressure.
true, but when they offer you X amount of millions of
I
dollars
know, you say
that you
yes.
see in the future as funding your next
I know,
your
it's true.
independent project, you'll go for it.
It's true.
But let's finish up.
Yeah,
on the-
anyway,
on
yeah,
the-
we're totally digressing here. Anyway, so How to Survive a Plague. I really enjoyed this documentary. It's very sad at times. It chronicles the millions of deaths that occurred from the beginning of the AIDS crisis to the end when they started developing the cocktail in the mid to late 90s.
Right.
And so
I
this
heard
group
Freddie Mercury missed it by about
He
3 months.
probably might have.
That's what they had said in this
I
wonderful
believe it,
book,
yeah.
The Many Lives and Deaths of
Yeah, it's a
Freddie
shame.
Mercury. Yeah.
But this film is really, if anything, it is a rallying call to activism. It shows how this group of activists were instrumental in getting people to move on finding a cure for this horrible plague. Because it was a plague, and I know things about plagues. This film was really about their struggle and what they really went through to get through to politicians, to Big Pharma, and to just get progress.
Yes.
Because it seemed like nobody cared. It really seemed, because it was a bunch of gay men.
Well, because it was a
that
gay disease.
They just
Yes.
wanted to just shut them up.
Precisely.
But they refused to be silenced.
No, they were grateful that the gay community was being attacked this
I know,
way.
and
they felt
this
that it
film-
was God's will
Yes.
that they be taken out by this
Especially
plague.
this politician, this son of a bitch, Jesse Helms. What a nasty bastard he was. He was not shown
And
a good
you know
light.
nasty.
I know nasty bastards, and he's one of the worst I've seen.
Yeah.
What a hateful man. There was a wonderful scene where they go to his home in Virginia and they cover it with this gigantic tarp that has been formulated to look like a huge condom. It was wonderful. Oh, they totally trolled him. It was wonderful. He deserved it. He was a
wow.
piece of shit.
Yes.
But anyway, How to Survive a Plague is a very, very interesting, very important documentary.
I
that
may have to
really,
watch that one.
I think you'd really get something out of it. It's an important part of American culture, world culture. It's very, very important, and I really recommend it highly.
Well, it's a wonderful
big
thing.
yes.
It's a wonderful thing that AIDS is no longer an issue.
It's not even
It's
a concern
it's
these
a one
days, it
pill a
seems.
day. The porn world, they don't even wear condoms anymore.
Well, I thought in some areas they had to, like California.
No, not at all.
Not anymore?
Nobody does anymore. It's from what I've heard.
Is that why I hear
don't-
you're moving to
don't
California?
Watch, I don't watch these films. Well, I can live right here and not wear a condom
I know.
when I have my inflatable shit. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it's just so. I'm just
It's
so
such a horrible
grateful.
death, too. Oh.
Well,
These
you,
poor
you-
people.
Well, you don't die from AIDS. AIDS is just the
Well,
the
you die from the
killing
things
of
that
your
come-
immune system.
yes, I know.
So you die of pneumonia. You
Other
die
things,
of,
when you get
of
those
other things.
lesions
Precisely.
and you waste
Horrifying,
away,
horrifying.
it's just terrible. So,
in fact, there's when Freddie did his final show at Wembley, at the Wembley Arena
Yes.
it's on video. You
I've
can watch
seen
it
the
and so
video
forth.
concert.
Exactly, and he actually had that dry mouth,
Oh,
yellow tongue at the
terrible.
time. And I haven't actually watched the film to notice that, but I hear that he did have lesions and so forth. But
It's,
anyway, I'm just so grateful that the world has, in fact.
I agree.
They still, if you do watch, certain news networks, they will say, "Oh, it's still a plague. It's still a horrible thing." Well, it's really not.
in
I mean,
certain pockets
it
of
is
the
a
globe,
one pill
yes.
a day. But if people, the problem is that people who do have AIDS don't know they have
I
it.
know,
Generally
it's
speaking,
terrible.
so the disease is being, still
It's still being, transferred around.
replicated
Yes.
throughout humanity here. So
Yes.
it's just to make sure that the people who have AIDS do get the medication
I agree.
they need. Absolutely.
But anyway, let us move on. I know you're
So you
going to do.
enjoyed this,
I really did. I enjoyed it. I found it very informative,
Alrighty.
and it filled me with a little bit of hope as well because it shows the human spirit will not be silenced.
Well, we have
I
no choice. I
appreciated
mean,
that.
that's what we do. We solve problems on this planet,
know
and
we
I thank
do.
God that we do.
Yes.
And there's a specific problem haunting all of us now
I
that is
know.
in a specific place in
I know.
our country, and it's trying to bring all of us down. It's trying to bring everybody into a really horrible place, along with who this person is. You all know his name. I just call him Shit for Brains.
I think it's going to bring out the best in us long term. It's going to really.
I hope that's true. I hope that
it's
we're
gotta
able
be.
to beat this.
We can't let this kind of nastiness
festering
win.
cancer that is now just trying to bring down our country
I know.
by our bad leadership here. I just pray to God that we can annihilate this shortly so that we can move on and truly be great again.
I pray it's a one-term problem.
Oh, one term. If it goes full term, man.
I hope not.
I hope like AIDS, it doesn't go full term. So there's our analogy.
Yes. So
Now,
let's move on.
Let's move on. I'm going to talk about Macbeth, 2015 version of Macbeth with Michael Fassbinder. Also, the lovely Marianne Cotillard
Yes.
is also in this
Wonderful
film. She
beauty.
plays Lady Macbeth.
Good actress.
And I'm going to, in kind of a bilateral, bi-postal, bi-coastal kind of unison lateral way, speak about the 1957 version of Macbeth, played out by the illustrious Akira Kurosawa. our wonderful Japanese director extraordinaire, the most famous Japanese director ever to come down the history of our world.
Yes.
You're the man that you're in the place of tonight, my dear friend, Mr. Chris Picard.
Yes.
We both did review Seventh Samurai, I believe,
Seven Samurai.
2 to 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
But anyway, I have to say that
Well, why don't you name this other film? You didn't name
I
it.
am about to. It's
Okay.
called Throne of Blood.
Yes.
And it and I have to say, of the two versions of Macbeth that are put on the pedestal, put on the plateau, put on the plate, if you will, I have to say that the Akira Kurosawa is, of course, all Japanese cinema, not all Japanese cinema, but Japanese cinema has a very overly incredible dramaticism to it. And this film has such a wonderful sense of mystery and in I believe the original Hamlet, we have the three witches surrounding the cauldron, etc. Trouble, trouble, toil and trouble, etc. But in the Akira Kurosawa version of Macbeth, we have Macbeth and his best buddy. They're going through this forest. You falling asleep? Hello. Okay. I'm so sorry. But let me just say,
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, let's talk about the Michael Fassbinder
Very
Macbeth
rude.
very briefly here. No, it's quite all right. Listen, you've been ousting people all
I've been busy.
all year. You're
I've been
a
very
busy
busy
man.
lately. I
You're a busy
apologize.
man. It's quite all right. In fact, go back to sleep. It's okay.
Well, I want to hear about Macbeth.
I'll just talk to the people here. Well, I got to say, the Michael Fassbinder Macbeth is so beautiful to look at. And let's face it, getting into these Shakespearean films are very difficult sometimes. You'll put it on,
not easy.
you'll hear the language of this and that and doth and dith and doth and doth and oh my lady and blah blah, and you just say blow it out your ass, bozo. I don't really feel like sitting through this for 2 long hours. And this film is almost 2 long hours of Macbeth. But Michael Fassbinder is so brilliant. I love this man as an actor. He's right up there with the best actors of our day. I put him right up there, not quite with a Daniel Day-Lewis, who just so submerges into a...
Have you no sense
on
of
here,
decency
let
to
me-
put your phone on
I gotta
silent
I'm terribly sorry.
with your smooth jazz
Yeah,
guitar?
I so apologize for that. Let me do that very
Please
briefly.
do, sir.
I'm very sorry. But anyway, do you like that smooth jazz?
I like it very much.
But anyway, that's a little air guitar for you folks, you stoners out there. You need a little air guitar, I'm going to give it to you right now. All right, so let's get back to
Please
Hamlet.
do, because we're running low on time.
Let's get back to Macbeth, if we may. Stunningly beautiful, and once you get past the first 20 minutes or so, Macbeth is about a murder. As most Shakespeare, someone is usually getting trounced so Richard III and Hamlet can reach the throne.
Yes.
Somebody wants to kill somebody so that they can advance. And without
see.
any heart nor soul, of which you know much about,
I do,
when you're trouncing
unfortunately, I
upon
do.
the poor ingrates that you've got to
Things
evict.
must be done sometimes.
Sometimes life is cruel. as we
Leadership
all
takes
know.
tough choices and decisions, and I make them daily.
Well, the true horror person of the Macbeth saga is Lady Macbeth.
Yes.
She's the one who convinces Macbeth to go on this murderous rampage to kill the king. So, but I gotta say, the Akira Kurosawa version is so much more dramatic and so much more in your face and so much more just absorbing to me, the viewer. I have to say, I loved it hands down. It's a 1957. I watched the Criterion version, which is a mess. It looks like it was filmed. It looks like a Harold Lloyd 1922 silent film.
Yes.
Lots of dots and lots of just really bad looking. I have to say, but I did love the 2015 Macbeth with Michael Fassbinder. It's a beautiful film to look at. It's very, very violent. It really
looked it from the trailer.
It is. It's very violent, and I also have to point out the 1971 version by Roman Polanski,
Yes.
who also did Macbeth. And I love that version too. I really
And
do.
who played
but
Macbeth in that one?
is a British actor, and I think he went on to be in Excalibur
Oh,
later,
okay.
the John Borman thing. But I don't think he was a famous man at the time, because
Okay.
otherwise his name would roll off
Yes,
my
yes,
tongue, and
yes.
it's not. So, but I have to say that of both these Macbeths, I enjoyed them both. I give a big yes to Macbeth. But I gotta say, Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood, hands down, blew the new one out of the water. Just through sheer intensity of heart and
Wonderful.
soul, and that's all we go to the movies for.
I agree.
Is to be knocked in the bloody chin.
It's kind of hard to compete with Akira Kurosawa, you know?
Well, no, that's not true. I mean, there are many films out there that we have wonderful films these days. There's no question about it. But I'm just saying the Japanese look, the Japanese viewpoint of that Shakespearean masterpiece, if you will, and is just totally, it's just much more intense. And I think that Shakespeare should be intense.
I agree with you 100%.
I don't want to see it just kind of laying low. And that's what the Fassbinder version, that's why I do believe Mr. Picard, my dear friend, who I don't know what you've done with him. He's probably in the back of your trunk right now.
Well, no. He told me, he had something to do. Asked me if I could fill in, and luckily my schedule allowed it.
I hope you didn't use those proctology fingers on him because, that poor boy, he's just a youngster.
No, I know.
He's got his whole life ahead of him.
He's a good friend of mine.
All right.
I would not do that to him.
Those fingers are very long, my friend.
They are.
All right. Well, anyway, so there you go, Macbeth. I give them both a big yes, but the Akira Kurosawa, Throne of
Very
Blood,
good to hear.
1957 with Toshiro Mifune. That is the one to see. Very good. We're going to move
We're
on
going
now
to a couple of flashback films, correct?
Bob Fosse's amazingly immaculate, one of my favorite films of all time.
Yes.
All That Jazz.
All That Jazz.
Oh my God!
You
what a
know,
film
this
is.
film was a revelation, I must say. It's generally not the kind of film that I would pursue.
True.
But as I have become more open-minded over the past few years,
I find that hard to believe.
It's this show. I must tell you that.
Well, good. I hope that.
I knew I was coming on this show, and I said, you know what? I must open my mind to new films.
Jazz.
Yes, so
Jazz.
I watched All That Jazz.
There you go. I'm so
and
glad you did.
We saw Roy Scheider playing a Bob
Roy.
Fosse type
Roy.
director.
Roy steals the show.
You know, I must say,
he's got that half a cigarette
yes,
hanging out of his
and that
lips the
mustache.
whole movie.
If there's
He's
one,
awesome in
if
this
there's
film.
one takeaway from this film,
Yeah.
it is the performance. A tour de force performance of Roy Scheider as this character
Absolutely
named,
true.
I believe the director's name is Gideon. The last name is Gideon.
Correct. And it's based on Bob Fosse.
It's based on
directed by Bob Fosse.
Yes, it's about
Bob
Fosse's
Fosse's only directed a few films. He directed
8.
Cabaret.
8 films only. I looked
is
it up. I believe it's
Okay.
only 8. Yeah.
Okay.
And he wanted to make a film that was semi-autobiographical about the period that he had a heart attack while
Correct.
he was doing two things. Directing the original Chicago production on Broadway,
Right.
and editing the film Lenny, starring Dustin Hoffman.
Righto.
So
That's
this
true.
film emulates that period of his life to
It
great
does.
detail, and we really just get a fantastic character study
We
here
do
of a man
indeed. Yeah.
who is. He almost is his own worst enemy. He is a chain smoker. He's a womanizer. He's a brilliant auteur of the
Director.
stage.
Yeah, he really is.
He's directing these performers
Company
on
and,
stage, his
some
company of
incredible
actors.
things. No, he directed the show Company,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
which is and also Chicago.
A lot of famous Broadway
He did them
shows.
all.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really
This film is about Broadway culture. There's
Yeah.
other. He is a rival director in this movie, played by John Lithgow.
Yeah.
Several noteworthy actors play the producers of his show. It's just an astounding film. A little
brief
too
fact.
heavy on the musical numbers for me, but it was
Well,
still
okay.
very good.
Very good. I agree.
Yeah, it
little
was a
brief
fantastic
fact,
film.
You actually want to see Bob Fosse. He's in the 1947 version with Katherine Grayson of Kiss Me, Kate.
Ah, yes.
And he actually has a bit part as a dancer in
Interesting.
that film. And you can see him dancing around if you know who to look for.
You know,
but I believe he has red hair in those days.
I was reading some things about this film after I watched it, and did you know that upon seeing this film when it came out in 1979,
Right.
Stanley Kubrick said at the time, "I think this is the greatest film I've ever seen."
I'm not surprised.
That's very interesting.
It's
I like
a beautiful
that.
film.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I love Jessica Lange
She's
as
wonderful.
the angel of death,
Yes.
who's always trying to lure him to
Yes.
death and so forth. I'll tell you this though, there's right as you see these men sitting around a table as Jessica's getting a little bit more prominent in the film.
Yes.
And we cut to a very, very graphic heart surgery
Yes, we do.
scene where the chest is
Yes.
open and where literally doctors are in there doing heart surgery.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you something. I know in my head, I know exactly what the cues are right before that scene comes up because I cannot. I literally go away for about 2 minutes and then I come back and go, okay, because that scene is so graphic
It
to
is.
me. Oh, it's just horrendous.
Yeah,
But he showed it for the horror of
He
what
did.
it is. It's like showing Holocaust victims.
I agree.
You know, it really gives you the essence of heart attack, and
I
you know, we
know,
all
it's
have a
not
heart,
pleasant.
except some of us don't have a heart. Hey,
Yeah,
but,
well, I have a centimeter left.
well, there you go. I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, a wonderful
It's a
film.
wonderful film.
I really do love it.
I really enjoyed every moment
Yeah.
that Roy Scheider was on screen. He was this character.
He truly was.
He played it
No,
100%.
no.
And you know,
He was. I agree.
originally Richard Dreyfuss was going to play the role.
Oh, I couldn't imagine such.
And then he left because he didn't, for whatever reason, he didn't stay in the film. I think
Oh,
he
thank
said
God he left.
didn't have faith in the production. It was some ridiculous thing. And then years later, he's reflected and said that was a huge mistake.
Probably the biggest mistake he ever made. But, you know what?
Yeah, but Roy Scheider
I'm
was
so grateful because
great.
Roy would have played it different than
know.
a you know. Come on.
And Bob Fosse fought for him because the studio
Yeah.
didn't want Roy Scheider.
Not
They
surprised.
wanted a more prominent, like Warren Beatty. They wanted.
Sure. Well, this was fairly only 3 years after Jaws came
Correct.
out that you know he's going to do all that jazz.
But, yeah,
you know,
he was
he
so
was still
good.
doing Jaws 2 and 3 and.
Well, he only did 2.
Oh, did he? Oh,
He didn't
good.
do 3. Was
Okay.
Dennis Quaid.
And
that
4 was
abysmal
Michael
one.
Caine. Yeah. Oh, those were horrible.
Jaws the Revenge.
God also.
But anyway, we both say 2 big yeses for all that
Absolutely.
jazz. Check it out.
Absolutely.
And our final film, our last flashback.
Our
we have
last
one more.
flashback. Do we have time?
Well, we can do it if you can do it in 2
I'll
minutes.
do it very briefly.
Quick.
I'm going to actually show you the video box of this.
This film is called Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
That is
from,
correct.
What year is this?
This
1964?
is 1964.
64.
Here is the film. It is Robinson Crusoe on Mars.
Nice.
And it is a Criterion film. I'm trying to get that without reflection
It's
there.
a very interesting
If I
premise.
may do it. Well, it's so horribly made.
Let me see this film.
It's so horribly made. It opens up with a kind of a Star Trekky, and the capsule that they're in is this tin can. It's so ridiculous and repugnant. But at the helm is none other than our original Batman, Adam West.
Oh.
Is at the helm. He's driving this. This is pre-Batman.
And this says Brian Haskins, Robin.
You
who
know
is he?
something? I don't know.
Who is he of his name above title? Who
well,
are
he's
you?
obviously the director.
I know, but I'm saying it's not like he's Stanley Kubrick or something. Who's Brian
Well,
Haskins?
no. Well, this movie is basically about a guy who, it's kind of a flashback to The Martian with Matt Damon,
Damon?
that just came out 2 years ago, back in 2015.
I love that film.
I love that film too, and even the extended cut.
great.
I love them both. I love The Martian. That movie to me, that ending, when
great
he
film.
finally gets off the planet. I hope I didn't spoil it for too many people, but man, I love that movie
Yeah.
so much.
Wonderful film.
Matt is so great in
He's
that
great in
movie.
that
He was
film.
nominated for an Oscar, and rightly so. He was wonderful. And Ridley Scott, just one of the directors to just relish. in
He's a
this.
national treasure.
He really, truly is.
Even though he's British.
Well, that's okay.
He's a British treasure.
He's still a treasure in this country, therefore he is a national treasure. But anyway, this film
Excuse me.
is so bad, it's good. It almost has a bit of a...
Bad movies can be great.
All right, let me get into it very briefly because we're almost out of time here. But it's about a guy and he lands on this planet, Mars. And he's got a little monkey with him. He's got a monkey on his back, like the boys drug addicts out there. He's got a monkey on his back. And a little monkey named Mona. I can't believe I remember the name of the monkey. But this movie is so bad, it's so cheap, the special effects are god-awful, and yet there is a certain heart and compassion to this movie. The dialogue is real. He's by himself for literally the first half of the film, and suddenly he discovers there's a group of slaves that have been held down by a more superior race who we only see in spaceships. And this guy, and he names him Friday, right after the Robinson in Robert Louis Stevenson's, Robinson Crusoe. And this movie is just god awful visually. I don't know where they filmed this. There are many rocks and so forth. No, they have horrible ash fall on them. I mean, it really had a kind of a. You know that the actors went through hell making this film. You can just tell because, obviously we don't have CGI like we do today.
Correct.
So people actually have to
But they
go through
endure
some
these
really
things.
endure some horrible, special effects, which are more like fluids flung upon them,
Yes,
etc.
yes.
But I still like this film a lot. I really
I'm
did.
sure it's amusing.
I decided I watched about the first half hour of it, and then I just said, oh, that's it. I can't watch any more. But then I just said, you know what? I'm going to watch a little bit more. And then I was hooked. Literally after the first half hour, I suddenly realized, hey, this isn't bad. There was just something about it I can't
like when that
explain.
happens.
Bad sci-fi, but somehow it's an endearing. And obviously, the people at Criterion feel the same way. Note that little
Great.
C. There's a little C right up there.
It's a seal of approval.
Criterion, and they're the max. They're the head honchos. They're the great. They're the great preservers
They really
of film,
are.
and they just preserve film in such a wonderful way. And that's their whole goal in life. As Martin Scorsese is a huge
I was gonna just
backer
bring him up.
of this, but
Thank God.
they're just a wonderful film company. And if you've
They
never
really are.
watched a Criterion film, they are just masterfully
Yes.
remastered, etc. Just visually
Masterly
stunning.
remastered.
Masterly remastered. It's so true.
Interesting.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonder. I'm going to give
It's-
a big yes for Robinson Crusoe, even though this movie visually is
You can
hilarious.
still recommend it for its
hilarious. But it has heart. It has compassion. There's just some reality to it. It's about two people who just have no one else to get along with, so they have to get along with each
Is
other.
that why I'm here?
I think that's
I
why
think
you're
you're
here,
right.
sir.
But
And
it's been
with
a
that,
pleasure, sir.
It's been such a good to see you,
Folks,
Sir
we are
Bowen.
leaving you tonight. This was our show. We thank you for enduring us.
132 of them
I'll
tonight.
take 132.
We haven't had that many in.
It's been
I
a
think
while.
since the last time you were here.
From the live stream,
I
apparently.
think you bring them to
I
us.
think I do. They like
I think
it.
you do. I think they do.
Well, that's good to hear. Maybe I should come more often.
I think you should.
We should all come more often.
We should all come more often.
Anyway, so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We will see you next
been
week.
a pleasure. It's been an
Chris
honor.
will be back next week.
Yes, he will.
I will be somewhere evicting somebody.
I
that's
don't
for
know
sure.
if I'll be back.
Well, hopefully you will.
Hopefully I will. But no,
But,
I probably won't.
I believe
I
that.
heard that the clown from It is going to be here.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I saw
Pennywise.
that on the booking sheet.
I think Pennywise
yes, you're
is
right.
here next week. So
Well, anyway, next week
tune
will be
into
fun.
that show next week.
As
next
always,
Tuesday,
folks, make sure you check.
7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
We shall be here. We do a live stream, 7:30 on BigChat.com.
I'm going to go do a live stream right now.
Please do.
I got
make sure
I
you
had
must
a little
tell
coffee. I had some coffee. And
Check
do a live
out the
stream.
show on YouTube, everybody that watches on the live stream. You're really, really missing out if you're not watching this show on YouTube because there was a lot of things that are added in post-production. So the episode that you see streamed live is on YouTube within 2 days and
Very
looks
true.
much better.
It does.
Check it out.
Just go to YouTube, Film
Check out
Banter,
Film Banter.
episode 48.
That's all you got to
or
do.
whatever
It's very
you want.
simple.
Hey,
And
last
then-
week we had Spider-Man here.
Spider-Man was
full
here.
costume. He was
And you
great.
know, there were some scenes that were filmed only for the YouTube show that
That's
you
right.
Big Chat people
That's
missed
right.
out on.
Just like there were stuff filmed with him for this show that
We
you're only going to see
did
on the
something.
YouTube
Yes,
show.
there's more for this. So check us out on
I'm
YouTube
telling
in
you,
2
we're
days.
we're a thrill a minute here.
Like us on Facebook and email us filmbanter@gmail.com
How do you know so much?
because Chris told me I had to say these things.
Oh,
I
I
wasn't
see.
going to be allowed to be on the show.
Okay, very good.
He's a slave driver.
Well, you look like you've been driven slavily.
Yes, I have been. But anyway,
Well, all
folks,
right.
we look forward to next week's
Show
show.
him those proctologist hands one more time.
The things
Look
that I
at
can
those
do to you
hands.
with just
Oh, my
2
God.
fingers. Give me your nostrils.
No, that's quite all right.
All right, folks, we'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
We love you all. And be nice to each other.
Please do.
And that's it, folks.